Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Your Mark on the World show. I'm your host, Devin Thorpe, and our guest today is Becky Morrison, the founder of a nonprofit organization called GlobeTops. Becky, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Devin.
We're excited to have you. Listen, tell us what GlobeTops is. Let's start there.
Sure. GlobeTops is a nonprofit organization, and what we do is that we connect people who have laptops that they don't use anymore with someone from around the world who needs a laptop for a project they're doing. So the idea is, like, let's say you got a new laptop, but your old laptop still works. You could go on this site and you could look at profiles of people in 8 different countries, including Haiti, Nepal, here in the US, Guinea, and you could read all the profiles and you could choose which project to give your laptop to based on the idea that you like the most.
That is so cool. So the donors are choosing who gets the laptop, not you.
Exactly, yeah.
What if they choose wrong?
What if they choose wrong? Well, there's no wrong choices because all of our recipients are worthy projects.
That's good. So do you screen the applicants a little bit?
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
So how are you screening them?
Sure. Well, actually, everyone who applies currently, this might not be possible when we get much bigger, but we have like 1 or 2 degrees of separation with. So it really depends on the country, but in Guinea, for example, I work with the Peace Corps. So these are Peace Corps volunteers that are working in the community that know who are doing great things and could use a laptop, and they submit applications on their behalf. So we make sure that every application really has somebody's up to something that's big. They have a big vision for the world. They're serving their community. They just don't want a laptop so they can, go on Facebook and say hi to their friends. It's got to be a little bit bigger than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you give us some examples of some of the people that have received laptops and what they've done with them?
Absolutely. Actually, there's a group of women who have an agricultural association outside of Kindia in Guinea. And in order to get money from the government, they have to have certain paperwork. And it's expensive to generate that paperwork because they need to go travel into town, they need to rent time on a computer, they need to print it, get it notarized, all of these things. And the cost of doing that was about $50 US, which in Guinea is a lot of money. A donor here in Brooklyn named Kayi donated her laptop to this project, and because of that, the women were able to create these documents for a cost of $2 US and get funding from the government and really expand the agricultural work that they were doing.
Wow, that's amazing, the power of that used laptop. Well, do you have a minimum standard for the age of a used laptop, the condition, the functionality? I mean, an old netbook, is that okay? What works?
Yeah, actually, we haven't been doing it so far using very stringent minimums because a lot of times people don't really know their laptops that well. So one thing that we'll do is we'll get the laptops, we run them through testing. And I have a partner here in New York called TechServe, which is a big non-Apple Apple store. And actually, the Best Buy Geek Squad refurbishes all of our PCs for free. So we run diagnostics, and if they don't pass testing, then we make sure that they're recycled responsibly. And if they do pass testing, we distribute them out in the world. And it's sometimes hard to say. We really like to get computers that are 5 years old and less, but a lot of times they're older but they still work, so it's a case by case basis.
Well, there is so much power in simply being able to plug your laptop into the internet and send an email, isn't there? I mean, and that doesn't take a whole lot of computing power.
Absolutely. So actually one of the things that we do is that each of the cities where the laptops are going, we are in the process of creating GlobeTops hubs. And that's where we're partnering with an already existing computer repair shop in that town. And each recipient that receives a laptop also gets a golden ticket, which entitles them to a free training course. And our training course right now in Kindia is a 3-month training course that the recipients get for free, in which they learn how to use Microsoft Office. They get an email created for them. They learn how to browse the web. So they're really equipped to go out and do the work that they're doing in the world.
It must completely change the game for some of these folks who are working right on the ground in the right where the action's happening, right? This is where the real work is going on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the thing that's so insane to me, which is really what had me start this, is there's just such a tremendous amount of e-waste. And because of regulations, we can't dispose of that in the U.S., so it ends up going to places like Africa and India where there's no regulation, and it's burned. And so you have these burning piles of e-waste, and people are trying to extract the precious metals out to get money to do what they want to do, when in fact, if we just took care of those laptops, we could put them in the hands of those people and empower them to change their lives, empower them to improve their community, instead of like having them watch their future like burn right next to them. It's just insane.
Yeah, that is absolutely insane. You're exactly right, and it's just tragic to see people taking $2,000 laptops and burning them to extract $2 worth of metals.
Yeah.
Just almost an unthinkable tragedy when the laptop would be so much more valuable than what's inside of it. Well, how did you come up with this idea? What was the nexus for this?
Yeah, well, the nexus was really twofold. One, I study West African dance. I'm in an African dance company, believe it or not. And I traveled to Guinea for the first time in 2004. And I've gone 5 times since. I've spent a lot of time in Guinea. I have many friends. And I just really saw these amazing, creative, powerful people who didn't have the means. They just didn't have the resources to do what they wanted to do. And I've also traveled to India many times because my dad is a Hindu monk, and I have deep ties in India. And I really, when I was there, I found the same thing. Just very, very creative people who were up to something who didn't have a lot of resources. And so when I was in Guinea one year, this was the end of 2011, my good friend there, as I was leaving, he asked me if next year when I came back, if I could bring him a laptop. And I was like, what? That's so expensive. Like, a laptop? No way, man. Like, I just thought that was a really bold request.
Yeah.
And then I was getting ready to go back a year later, and I just put something up on Facebook. I said, does anyone have an old laptop I could give to my friend? And immediately I got 10 responses. People were like, I do. I have 2 laptops. How can I give you my laptops? And I just saw that there was really a need on both ends, and all that needed to happen was connecting the dots. And so I went about connecting the dots.
That is so cool. So cool. Well, I wonder, there are times, I'm sure, when you find this work to be challenging, to be daunting. Maybe there are days when you think, I'm going to quit. But who do you think of as a role model? Who inspires you to keep going when it's really tough?
That's a good question. I mean, really who inspires me are each and every one of the recipients. Like, when I see the looks on people's faces when they get the laptops, when I get notes, like I got a note from one of our recipients who's based in New Jersey, who is 12 years old. He was homeless for most of his life. They just found housing, and the same day that he received a laptop from Globetops, he was elected his 6th grade class president. And just, I saw these, he sent pictures of him like, praying and thanking God for blessing him for this laptop. And like, when you see things like that, that's like food for the soul to absolutely keep going.
Oh, that's amazing. That is inspiring. Now, you could be doing a lot of things with your time, and I understand where the idea for this came from. You shared that with us, but it's a lot of work, and it's not going to make you rich. Why do you do this?
I mean, I really feel like I do this because it needs to be done. Plain and simple. Like, yeah, you're right. I'm not doing this for like fame or fortune, but it's just, it needs to be done. And nobody else that I can see is going to do it. Like, certainly our government isn't going to do it. And I really believe that, like, we as individuals can have a simple idea, and just by, taking action on it can absolutely change the world.
Yeah. Well, no doubt about that. No doubt about that. Well, last thing, Becky, you have really accomplished something remarkable over the last decade in your efforts with this Globetops project. Everyone who's listening has a variety of needs and interests. They want these different things, but everyone, I think, that's watching wants to know how to do more good in the world. Give us one tip that we can take and apply in our lives to have more impact.
I would say just do it. Each of us know in our own lives, like, those things that we can do to contribute to someone else. I think that we see so much in the media about the negative things that are happening in the world, the war, the disease, and really what I've witnessed and what I have a great deal of faith in is that there is a new energy rising on the planet, one really that's based in service and serving each other and, this whole collective, the collective that we are. And so my recommendations would be to just get out there and take one action a day that is contributing to someone else, even if that's smiling when you wouldn't normally smile, or whether that's getting involved in a local organization that you know is doing good. But those little things really do add up.
Oh, no doubt. Well, that's such a great tip. Well, listen, Becky, thank you very much for being with us today. Before you go, tell us how people can find you, how they can get a laptop to you, how they can apply to get a laptop.
Absolutely. I'd love to, Devin. Well, you can find us at www.globetops.com. Also on Twitter, as you can see below me, at Globetops. And reach out, drop a line, get in touch. We would love to hear from you.
Fantastic. Well, Becky, thank you very much for being with you. We wish you every success in the great work that you're doing.
Thank you so much, Devin.
All righty. Let's do some good.